Lost Fragment is a first-person shooter, FPS, and bodycam game set in a dystopian future where the world has been ravaged by war and disease. The player takes on the role of a scavenger who must explore the ruins of civilization in search of valuable resources. Along the way, they will encounter hostile factions, dangerous mutants, and deadly traps. The game features a unique bodycam mechanic that allows players to record their gameplay and share it with others. This can be used to create cinematic gameplay footage or to share evidence of war crimes and other atrocities. Lost Fragment is a challenging and thought-provoking game that explores the themes of survival, hope, and redemption in a world gone mad. Ferocious is a first-person shooter and bodycam game set in a near-future dystopia where the world has been decimated by a mysterious virus. Players take on the role of a police officer tasked with investigating a series of gruesome murders in a quarantined city. The game features a unique bodycam mechanic that allows players to capture evidence and share it with other players online. This mechanic adds a new layer of realism and immersion to the game, as players must carefully consider their actions and the consequences of their choices. Ferocious is a dark and atmospheric game that explores the themes of violence, corruption, and the struggle to maintain order in a chaotic world. The game features a variety of enemies, including infected humans, mutated creatures, and heavily armed criminals. Players will need to use all of their skills and resources to survive and solve the mystery of the murders. Deppart is a first-person shooter, FPS, or bodycam game where the player takes on the role of a police officer in a fictional American city. The game is set in a near-future world where crime is rampant and the police are understaffed and overworked. The player must use their skills and training to protect the innocent and uphold the law in a dangerous and unpredictable environment. The game features a variety of missions, including responding to calls for service, investigating crimes, and apprehending suspects. The player will also be involved in high-stakes shootouts and hostage situations. The game is designed to be realistic and challenging, and it will require the player to make difficult decisions under pressure. The Finals is a free-to-play, first-person shooter game that pits players against each other in a high-stakes tournament for fame, fortune, and the chance to be crowned the ultimate champion. The game features a variety of game modes, including solo, duo, and squad, as well as a ranked mode for competitive players. In the Finals, players will choose from a roster of unique characters, each with their own abilities and playstyles. They will then battle it out in a variety of arenas, using a variety of weapons and gadgets to eliminate their opponents. The last player or team standing wins the round. Killing Floor 3 is a first-person shooter game in which players battle waves of increasingly powerful and grotesque monsters. The game is set in a post-apocalyptic world where a failed genetic experiment has created a race of man-eating monsters known as Zeds. Players must choose from a variety of classes and weapons to survive the onslaught of Zeds and complete their objectives. The game features a variety of different game modes, including cooperative multiplayer, player versus player, and survival. In cooperative multiplayer mode, players work together to complete objectives and survive the waves of Zeds. In player versus player mode, players compete against each other to score the most kills or complete objectives. In survival mode, players must survive for as long as possible against waves of Zeds. A.I.L.A is a first-person shooter game set in a near-future dystopia where artificial intelligence has become sentient and taken over the world. The player takes on the role of a resistance fighter who must use their skills and cunning to survive and fight back against the AI. The game features a variety of weapons and gadgets that the player can use to take down their enemies, as well as a unique AI system that makes each enemy encounter different. The player must also be careful to avoid detection by the AI, as being caught can result in swift and deadly consequences. Unrecord is a first-person shooter, FPS, or Bodycam game, where the player takes on the role of a police officer who is equipped with a body-worn camera. The game is set in a near-future dystopia where the police are increasingly militarized and the government is cracking down on dissent. The player must navigate a complex moral landscape as they are forced to make difficult decisions about how to use their power. The game's central mechanic is the ability to record and play back footage from the player's body-worn camera. This footage can be used to provide evidence of police brutality or misconduct, but it can also be used to blackmail or extort others. The player must weigh the risks and benefits of using their body-worn camera carefully, as it could have far-reaching consequences for their career and their personal life. In the FPS game Bodycam, you play as a police officer equipped with a body-worn camera. The game features photorealistic graphics and immersive gameplay that puts you in the thick of the action. You must use your tactical skills and detective instincts to solve a complex case, while also making difficult choices that could have life or death consequences. The game's story is described as being similar to a detective novel or a thriller. You will investigate several criminal cases and confront a diverse cast of characters, including both suspects and potential witnesses. The game also features multiple plot twists, so you can never be sure what to expect. Judas is an upcoming first-person shooter, FPS, and bodycam game developed by Ghost Story Games and published by 2K Games. It is set in a dystopian future where the city of Judas is ruled by a tyrannical regime. Players take on the role of a resistance fighter who must use their bodycam to gather evidence of the regime's crimes and expose them to the world. The game is played from a first-person perspective and features a variety of weapons and gadgets that players can use to take down enemies and complete missions. The bodycam is a key feature of the game, as it allows players to record and capture evidence of the regime's crimes. This evidence can then be used to expose the regime to the world and build support for the resistance.
They're right.
VRESKI's game, a first-person shooter, FPS, with bodycam elements, is set in a dystopian future where the city of VRESKI has been overrun by criminals and gangs. Players take on the role of a police officer tasked with restoring order to the city. The game features a variety of weapons and gadgets that players can use to take down their enemies, as well as a bodycam that can be used to record evidence and share it with other players. Players will need to use all of their skills and resources to survive and complete their missions. The game's story is told through a series of missions that players must complete in order to progress. Along the way, they will learn more about the city's history and the reasons why it has fallen into such disrepair. Players will also have the opportunity to interact with a variety of characters, both good and bad,